Welcome to Web3 Marketing Podcast. I'm Dasha, and this is our first season. We're interviewing founders and leaders from top Web3 marketing agencies from all over the world. Tune in to listen to their insights and real Web3 marketing cases. Today we have with us Nick from a marketing agency called Batrak. Nick, welcome. Nice to see you here. Let's start with sharing a little bit about what you guys do at Batrak.
So my name is Nick, and I'm CEO and founder of Batrak. In Batrak, we mostly focus on paid traffic for Web3 brands, mostly for exchanges. So we use different ways of traffic like Brave, Facebook, Google, and so on, to drive real users and depositors for crypto exchanges, play-to-earn games, crypto casinos, and so on.
Could you share some of the biggest names you guys worked with?
I can mention the biggest exchange in the world, like Binance. We did influencer campaigns for them. Also, I can mention the biggest decentralized exchange, DYDX. We have done a few influencer marketing campaigns for them. And also, we work with 1inch and a lot of other brands. But in our clients, we have like small and mid-tier brands also.
What is your personally the most favorite project to work with?
I think that I can mention category in general. It is exchanges. Mostly because it is easy to understand. It is easy to sell those projects to Web2 audience, which is a lot larger and easy to work with. So that's why we prefer to work with exchanges.
This episode is brought to you by our friends from Network. They're building tools that help Web3 companies monetize their communities in a secure and automated way with access to full crypto wallets data. To try their no-code builder for referral programs or for marketing contests, go to their website, mvnetwork.app. I want to ask you a lot of questions about how you guys work with paid traffic. So everyone who's listening to us, they will really understand everything they need to know about it, how to do paid traffic campaigns themselves, how to work with an agency like you guys on this. Let's start with talking more about different channels of paid traffic that you work with and you think the most effective right now.
Yeah, sure. Actually, it would be difficult to mention the most effective. I can mention the most scalable is Facebook, for sure, mostly because of its artificial intelligence in Facebook. So that's why we can scale campaigns and receive a lot of traffic.
I know there are some difficulties with getting the ads through the checks of AI. How does this work when you're creating pictures, when you're creating texts for these ads? Is it any different from when you're advertising Web2?
Yeah, of course. And mostly because crypto is prohibited to promote Facebook and you can easily get blocked. So that's why I think this is one of our main unique selling propositions we have is that we know how to bypass it. And that's why a lot of other marketing agencies come to us and ask us to do this. We mostly do pretty common approaches from affiliate marketing industry, which works with casino, betting, and some other gray area products. So we use almost the same approach with warm agency accounts, with pre-landing pages, with using right words, like not crypto, but digital assets, and so on, in order to bypass moderation.
This sounds super smart and important, I think, right? Especially for those who try to run these kind of campaigns and had difficulties. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing the hacks. I'm not going to ask you more because I think it's your secret sauce and Batrak.
I mentioned all secrets. I mentioned all important things like warm accounts, pre-landing pages, and using the right words. But the thing is that it's pretty hard to organize all of this because it's hard to get warm accounts, it's hard to get right words, it's hard to create pre-landing pages and to make it all work, to set up all analytics and so on. So it's easy to understand, but it's hard to create. So that's why I can share everything.
Thank you. Let's talk also about some general things. What kind of goals can you solve with paid traffic? And what kind of goals your clients usually come to you with?
Yeah, paid traffic is pretty easy to manage. First of all, because we can use all analytics, tracking, and so on. We just drive traffic to a website. And the main aim for exchanges as well and for play-to-earn also in NFTs is a deposit. So to deposit or mint NFT or something else. This is the main aim of all companies. But before this, we usually target on registrations and KYCs if it is applicable.
So you basically first get people to apply on the platform, right? Register, go through KYC, and then you basically run some extra campaigns on the same people to make sure that they deposit money.
Yeah, we also do this, but it's not for every project, because what you mentioned is just a funnel, right? When we gather audience with the registrations, then we show another ad with a deposit bonus, for example, to make them to deposit. But sometimes we just create ads for registration, and then exchanges has its own, we call it direct to registration to deposit conversion rate, which is usually of about 3, 5, 10%. So it's easy to calculate how much we can pay per registration to receive deposit, which will satisfy and meet our KPIs.
Can you also name the minimal budget to start the running paid ads? I think CMOs or founders of upcoming Web3 products, they will be thinking like, when should I start with what amount of money? So maybe you can just give them an advice.
Yeah, actually it depends on the channel, and also it depends on the service provider, because we as an agency have a minimum budget of 5K. And this is not because we want to make more money. This is mostly to have real tests and real results, not just spend 1,000 and then, okay, we need to test more. That's why we charge 5,000 as the minimum budget. But on the other hand, we have our own costs for infrastructure per each project. We need to create an account. We need to create bank cards, which are not related to any other projects, in order to keep accounts safe and to provide traffic for Facebook. And in order to make this, we need to earn commissions from 5,000 at least, which are 20%. So we need just 1,000 in order to cover our costs and to make profit. So that's why we have 5,000 minimum budget. But if you will do it manually, like in-house, or if you want to do it with other agency, you may need any other limits. For example, in Brave, you have a minimum budget of 10K per campaign. So you are unable to launch it. They will be unable to help you. Even if you will text that, okay, after 1,000, I will send you $1 million. Please start my test campaign. They will say, no, we have 10K minimum budget. So that's why some particular channels has its own minimums. For example, these platforms like Liftoff, they have a minimum limit of 30,000 USD for test campaign. So sometimes you will meet limits of service providers, as we do as agency. We have minimum budget of 5K per channel, and also some particular channels also has its own minimum budgets.
Let's talk about influencers. I know it's one of the channels that you use for paid traffic. How does this usually work?
Actually, right now we use influencers not as traffic source. Because of the current market state, it's pretty difficult to convert and to receive scalable amounts. Influencers have only Web3 audience, which are not really tend to invest in new projects, use new exchanges because of the current market state. They don't need new exchanges because they already have Binance, Bybit, Huobi, and so on. They already have everything they need. That's why we work with Web3 influencers only if we need to increase brand awareness, engage with the community, and so on. In some particular cases, if we talk about small influencers with engaged Telegram community, and let's assume this influencer is only about trading, you have a chance to create successful campaign with him or with her if you will engage with their community, create trading contests and so on. In this particular case, you will be able to receive results. But if you think that you can just post integration or dedicated video on YouTube, you will be unable to receive results there because audience are not ready to do something new, invest new money in crypto. That's why you can try to work with Web2 influencers. This is what we do for a few of our current clients, which I mentioned at the start, pretty big names. And when you work with Web2 audience, they pretty keen to and want to try some Web3 projects. And if you promote your exchange, it's pretty high chance that you will be the first exchange of this person. And that's why your potential user will be ready to test it. And you will not need to explain to him or to her that you're better than Binance. Because it can be pretty difficult for a new exchange to work with Web2 audience and to try to explain, okay, we're better than Binance, or we have more functions or more tokens. It's pretty impossible. So that's why I would recommend, if you want to receive new users from influencers, I would recommend to work with Web2 influencers. which is pretty close to Web3, like technology, IT, gaming. If you have play to earn projects, they have Web2 audience which are not related to crypto but tend to use it. So that's why in this particular case, influencers can provide results.
I think it's a really important insight, and also just to understand that, yes, even with the bearish market, the adoption doesn't stop, which is great. And you guys are working with that. This is awesome. And just a small comment about the bullish market, because it will come back at some point, right? So does it work usually at this like bullish state of market?
I just also want to add one more thing, is that actually Web2 audience actually don't even know about bear market. They think crypto is like great thing, and they want to use it because they see it in news and everywhere. They just know about crypto and they think that it is future. So that's why it's easy to attract them. Regarding bullish market, the main thing is not to choose the right influencer. It's not about like interesting campaigns, ideas, and so on. The main thing is to negotiate your promotion with influencers, because if some of top tier influencers or mid tier influencers will say something about your project on bullish market, then you will definitely receive a new audience. Because on the bullish market, when we need to negotiate and start a campaign with tier one influencers, it was impossible for us just to send her. It was one girl crypto influencer. It was impossible for us to text her. It was impossible to receive an answer from her and from her managers. They were saying, "Oh no, we don't take any paid sponsorship right now," and that's why we need to find a lot of acquainted friends with her. And we asked him, our close friend, to say about our project to this particular influencer, that we have a nice brand and that it's better to work with us. And only then, when we spend a lot of time on negotiation, that please work with us, we were able to pay her 10,000 USD for short integration. And this is only because on the bullish market, if you have a relevant project which can help audience to make money, and some trusted influencers say that you will make money with this project and you will receive new users.
Okay, that's simple. That's straightforward.
Yeah.
I actually had my own experience with influencers campaigns, or at least the attempt to do it, to run it. It was really difficult. The same as what you mentioned, it's really just hard to even get an answer from influencers. When you do the outreach, you try to pitch your project, you're ready to pay, you're basically asking for a paid promotion, and the response rate itself was so low that it was almost impossible to run a campaign. That's why I really wanted to have this conversation with you, because I think as you work with so many influencers at the same time, I think you just know your way around it, how to get influencers, how to be able to run this.
Yeah, actually, we changed the approach not so long ago, and mostly because of current market state. We have done more than 2,000 different influence marketing campaigns, a lot of videos, posts, everything. And right now we have a short list, not actually short, but it's less than 1,000 of influencers, mostly all in mid-tier ones. And the main thing is that they have a real engaged community. So those guys are pretty close to us. We help them to make money, so they really like us. And right now we try not to work with new influencers, because it's always a risk, because actually they can also scam you, and this is pretty common thing. So that's why right now we work only with our list or close to us influencers. And this is approach we think, and we see that it works, because you understand what you should expect. You can also provide these expectations to your client, and that's why everyone is satisfied with the service in general. We even plan to create a Web3 acceleration program for influencers, because we know that there are a lot of acceleration influencer programs, general influencers, but zero for Web3. And we even create all presentations, all structure of the accelerator. We even gather some partners like top tier brands which are ready to participate and to pay for this. We have a lot of negotiations with influencers and big influencers which are ready to be mentors. But we just decided to pause this project right now because of the current market state again. But I think we will launch it as soon as we will see bullish market, and we will not only work with the same influencers, but we will have some kind of academy and acceleration program, not just to help them make money, but also to grow their audience, improve quality of the content, and so on.
This is awesome. I really hope to see this one day, this project being live.
Yeah.
Just an off-top question. I'm just curious about this. In your opinion, what do you need to become a crypto influencer, a Web3 influencer? How actually hard is this?
It's hard for me to say, but we actually have our own data analytic platform, which provide insights for influencers because we can check the quality of the audience demographic, and all of other stats. And one stats is growth rate. How fast are they growing? And we see that right now, because of the market, it is extremely difficult to grow. If you will choose any random influencer, crypto one, check number of views a year ago, you will see that it can be 2, 3, 4 times more than right now. So that's why I think that right now, maybe the great time to become an influencer in general is to create content and start to work with the camera to become an influencer at first. And then if you will be able to create it right now, you will definitely be able to receive a lot of new audience on the bullish market. And we see pretty successful influencers right now which describe technology. They can discuss just usual tech stuff, and at the same page they can talk about crypto, and they gather mixed audience, Web3, Web2, but all about IT, digital. So that's why when you will see bullish market, you will be able to focus all your content on Web3, and your audience will be ready to this. And I think that this approach may work right now also.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for this advice. I like the insights. Let's talk a bit more about metrics. I know that you have the platform to track the metrics for influencers, but what do you usually track in your campaigns for clients? Do you mostly look at CPL, maybe something else?
Yeah, if we talk about Facebook, I should say that we use and we track click-through rate, because click-through rate is not related with money, like it doesn't make money for the customer. But the thing is that CTR is really influence cost per mile. And if you have low CTR, Facebook will sell to you for higher price. They will say, okay, you have poor ad, you need to pay more money to us. So that's why it's better to always improve your CTR. That's why Facebook will think, okay, those guys provide really nice content for our audience. We can lower the CPM for them so they can receive more views because audience really like it and really engage with this. So in Facebook, maybe this is the only thing we track except the cost per lead. Usually it's registration, and cost per deposit, which is real deposit. So we track money related things like CPL, we call it a CPD, cost per depositor, or CPO, cost per order. And from media benchmarks, we use only CTR because it influences CPM, which influence all other costs in the campaign.
What is a good CTR for you guys? What would you recommend to try to achieve?
Yeah, medium is 1%. It is okay. If it is lower, we always looking ways how to improve it. 2-3% is great. This is mostly for Facebook. You need to understand it. If we talk about Brave, 10% is okay in Brave ads. And there are a lot of other different channels, and they all have different CPAs.
Could you explain a bit more about Brave, how to work with this?
Yeah, actually, it's a common traffic source for brands. Today, I had a call with our customer. We had pretty unsuccessful experience in Facebook. It was extremely expensive to receive users for them. I don't know why, but it was some kind of crypto trading co-pilot, like copy trading, signals, and it was extremely expensive to run Facebook ads for them. But we started Brave campaign a week ago, and it was just a test campaign for 100 USD per day budget, so 3,000 USD per month. We are able to lower, I mentioned 10K per Brave per month, but we as an agency have one account and we can run multiple clients for those 10K. So it's easy for us to lower the budget, and we received a lot of signups for those projects and paid trials already. We haven't received any paid trial from Facebook, but we spent a lot of money. But we run $100 campaign and receive of about 10, 15 paid trials. And this is the best result the client ever seen in paid channels, except their own community. And I think that Brave can provide real results. First of all, because it's pretty crypto savvy users. 75% of them own cryptocurrency. So it means that they have Trust Wallet or MetaMask and so on. They already deposit in crypto, not via bank card and so on. So that's why they show high conversions after first steps, because they understand the project. And the second benefit is that cost per click is fixed. It is 20 cents for click. And they have the same price for UK, for example, or US audience, and for Nigeria or Philippines. And that's why it is pretty effective to promote your projects in US, UK, pretty expensive geographies, where Facebook ads will be extremely expensive. So that's why we use Brave there, because they're pretty new to market and they don't have all these algorithms in order to provide real-time bidding and so on. They provide fixed price. And that's why it's easy to manage expectations when you use Brave.
I think this advice just right now was gold. What about metrics for influencer campaigns? What do you track?
If it is a performance-oriented campaign, of course, we track CPL and CPD, like cost per depositor. And what our customers usually focus is cost per mile. With influencers, you can negotiate prices. So that's why you can manage cost per mile. And cost per mile with influencers is a lot more expensive with Brave, for example, because in Brave, you just share 2 sentences, like short sentence, 30 characters, and a second sentence, 60 characters. Pretty short description of your project. And it actually doesn't make sense for the audience, because they need to click in order to understand what do you really offer. So that's why you don't need to care how many views you receive, because they don't make any sense. But when you work with influencers and you pay per 20-minute video about your project, views really make sense, because you may receive 10,000 real views. Let's assume you receive real views. And this is a real 10,000 people which have seen 20-minute video about your project. It means that they understand your project well, and there are high chances that they will do some actions right after the video or somewhere after it, when you will do Brave ads or Facebook ads, because they will already know you. So that's why CPM is important.
What about increasing conversions? How do you usually guys work with this?
First of all, it depends on the channel we use, because every channel has its own variables you can change. But in every channel, you have 2 main variables. First one is audience. For example, if you promote decentralized exchange for Web2 audience, you will never receive users, because they are unable to deposit money with their MasterCard or Visa. And this is pretty easy to understand. So that's why you need to work with the right audience. You need to be sure that this audience can really use your project. And second variable is offer. You need to understand that your offer is relevant to market, because as I mentioned with the exchanges, we have a lot of requests from them, and they say, okay, we want to receive new users. Let's assume Web3 audience, right? And we ask, and this is pretty easy question, but they always think that we try to make fun of them or something like this. But we always ask, can you please say why you are better than Binance or Bybit or others? And they always think that we are rude when we ask those questions. But the thing is that our main aim is to understand what we can offer to our audience. Because if you cannot compete on the market, you will be unable to receive new users. You need to offer something which is better. You don't need to have more tokens or more functions or more trading world. You just need to offer one feature which is better. And it will be enough for us to promote this particular feature if this feature actually makes sense for the audience. And we usually manage those 2 variables. Of course, there are a lot of other stuff, but it's pretty small. It doesn't really influence as audience and offer.
So it's all about the right match of the audience and the offer, and for offer to be really interesting and meaningful.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Do you use some lead magnets or incentives, something that you use regularly?
Yeah, we use it, but it's pretty tricky also. In order to attract Web2 audience, you need to offer not free money, but you need to motivate them, because they think that in crypto, everyone receives free money. And you also need to use this trick and to say, okay, you will receive 50 USD sign up bonus and 50 USD deposit. It can be like trading commission discount or something else, but you need to say that 50 USD and 50 USD. And that's why you motivate users and you really receive registrations and deposits. But on the other hand, you may mislead audience that you offer those 1000 USD as fee reduction, right? They may think that they will be able to receive this and to withdraw to their bank account. And when they realize that it is impossible, they can be pretty angry. And we have some cases when exchanges promoted those offers and people were texting injuries to government. Those guys mislead you. They offer you 3000 USD in ad, but they don't really provide it because I cannot withdraw this. Of course, everyone has its right to say that you will receive 300 USD. Of course, they have a small text that it is only deposit bonus, but it is pretty tricky.
Is there some safe, effective way to use incentives?
Yeah, we tried to mention that it is deposit bonus or registration bonus. We always say you will receive 50 USD deposit bonus, so audience can understand what they can expect.
Yeah, that makes sense. That you really need to show things for what they are to make it clear. Otherwise, you're gonna get some hate from your users, which is not great. Let's talk a bit more about the moment when the team decides that they need to work with paid channels. Do you usually recommend to just start from paid channels initially when the team just has the first product? Or should they do some other types of marketing before, maybe social media or community building, and only then after, at some point, start running paid channels?
We usually don't connect those two things because if you have a website, you can drive traffic to your website because audience will never go to your community, Instagram, Twitter, and so on. They will use your website. So that's why it's pretty easy to start with a paid channel and to see results and to continue or not.
But I do hear a lot that people usually check before engaging with some projects. They usually check communities, how legit the team is, the community is active.
Yeah, it depends on the project. So if it is new to market and it's not an exchange where you can make an account and so on, then yes. But if it is an exchange, even new one, audience anyway will first create an account to try to see the interface, receive bonuses and so on. But that's why you will be able to receive results anyway. Then you will need to have a community and to do a lot of other stuff. But first of all, you will receive some leads.
Could you share one or two cases just to share a bit more about what you guys specifically do for your clients?
Yeah, since the end of the last year, we started to work more as a boutique agency. Before the end of the last year, we had a lot of different clients, services. We were pretty big agency. And right now we focus more on working with 5-6 brands. And usually we may provide only one service, paid traffic. It can be one channel or 2 or 3, but it's only paid traffic. Now we mostly work with hard KPI or cost per acquisition deals. We charge per result. Usually it can be like KYC, registration, or deposit. It can be any stage of the funnel. Right now we work with the 5-7 brands we trust and we work a lot with them. And that's why we are able to provide results and to guarantee particular prices per each funnel stage. This is pretty new to market because it is okay for betting. It is okay for casino industry. I have seen only a few companies which do something like this, and they all are connected with casinos and betting at first, and then they just try to work with crypto. We work only with crypto with this particular solution. So that's why we provide traffic right now for uHodler, which is for wallet, for Binance, for Margix, and for a few other brands based on those CPA or hard KPI. So they don't pay for videos, they don't pay per views, so they pay per results. And I'm really proud of this stuff that we are able to provide results. Maybe not for everyone, but for our 5 or 7 clients, we can do this, and I'm really proud of it.
Thank you so much for sharing this, Nick. I think it says a lot about your approach at Adrox and the kind of integrity you guys have. and the natural, very real desire to focus on results for your clients. I think it's amazing. Also, thank you so much for sharing all the insights, especially the numbers. Really appreciate it. I hope our listeners will enjoy this episode as well. And I hope to see you again on our podcast when the market will change. We'll talk more of the cases that you guys have and new insights. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. You can already watch the whole season, but before you do, please make sure to subscribe and follow us on social media. See you in the next episode.